on this beautiful Friday in Atlanta. And quick little update. We actually got the last week's session recorded nicely. I'm going to be posting that to the Pitch Practice YouTube channel shortly, and after a little bit of editing. And this session is also being recorded. It's all done by Atlanta Tech Village, who's kind of setting up the Zoom for this. So we appreciate them. And I appreciate everybody showing up today here again. And for those of you who haven't been here, I know our little routine now that we're doing this remotely. So we're going to stick to that. Here's generally what we're going to do. I'm going to ask everybody to just say your name and where you are physically. For example, I'm Kevin and I'm in Roswell. And it just helps to know we have one person I know who's actually in Tennessee. And so we'll see if we have anybody from anywhere else in Atlanta or anywhere else in the country for that matter. When you do pitch, if you're going to practice, turn on your camera. If you're not pitching, make sure that you have your phone or your device on mute. And then if you do want to ask a question or make a comment, just unmute and just talk. There's 100 different ways to do that, and we'll probably talk over each other once or twice, but that's okay. I found it's easier if somebody just talks rather than somebody having to raise their hand and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit easier. And of course it is being recorded. So what we do with these recordings is just put them out on the Pitch Practice YouTube channel. So they're out there. We don't really do any sort of promotion of that, but if you want to see or hear yourself pitch after you've done it here, it's all out there that I've had to go back and listen to, and then I push that out to LinkedIn and Twitter, and a lot of people found that very valuable. And I apologize if my Wi-Fi goes haywire here. It is known to do that, but we'll try and keep it stable. So sorry about that. Here's how pitch practice works. Sorry, I forgot the first thing I said I was going to do. I'd like to do some introductions. So I'm just going to walk down the roll call here. The first person I see is Ashley. Ashley, unmute and tell us where you are and how you doing.
Hey guys, I'm Ashley and I'm in Midtown right now.
Thank you for joining us, Ashley. Next up is Brandon.
Hey everyone, it's Brandon. I'm trying to get my video work. All right, I'm in Dunwoody though, and I'm doing well.
Great, good to see you, Brandon. Brian, are you new?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm a lawyer over at DLA and I'm sitting in Candler Park today.
Excellent, nice to see you. Mr. Groover.
Yes, sir.
Do you go by D. Lewis or Louis Groover Jr.?
You can call me D. Lewis.
D. Lewis. Excellent. Where are you calling from today?
I'm actually currently in Nashville, though Atlanta is my home. I've been holed up here since the COVID started.
Well, you could pick worse cities to hole up in. Nashville's very nice.
Yes, it is very nice. I agree.
Glad to have you here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bobby, are you still with us?
Yep. Hey, Kevin, calling from Marietta.
Very good. Nice to see you. And then we have Candace.
Hello, calling in from Swanee.
Nice to see you again, Candace, excuse me. Casey, how are you?
Good, Kevin. Yeah, Casey Correnti. I'm also in Nashville, but I was the original Nashville attendee. So
We'll let him have it.
But glad to be here.
What are the chances two remote people not from Atlanta, and they're both in Nashville? Caesar, you're also with us. Welcome.
I am from West Midtown.
Very good. Good to see you. And Matthew Daniels.
Hey, brand new member at the Tech Village, and I am in Augusta, Georgia.
We are slowly spreading ourselves across the Southeast. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us. Did I miss anybody?
Did you miss me, Kim?
I did. I don't see your name on here. Oh, there you are, Kim. Good. Nice to see you. On the scrolling thing here on the Zoom participants, who whenever somebody talks, they jump to the top. So Kim, I apologize. You're there, and I've just found somebody else. So how are you, Kim, and where are you, Kim?
Doing well, Kim. I'm from East Point, Georgia, just south of downtown.
Very good. Nice to have you. And there's also they left. Andre. Now I see him.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Yeah, my apparently my connection isn't the best. Okay, so instructions, name and location, Andre Walker. I'm actually in Mableton, Georgia, which is about 15-20 minutes west of downtown Atlanta. Let me turn on my camera.
You don't have to turn it on unless you're going to pitch. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I'll give it a second.
Good. I think I got everybody. Speak up if I missed you, but I think I managed to scroll through and get everybody. All right, everybody's back on mute. Good. Thank you all very much for joining us. For those of you who are not familiar with pitch practice, by the way, my name is Kevin, in case I didn't get that across. I started pitch practice back in 2013 when I had a little startup. It was just me and a team of developers, and I needed to raise some money, and I didn't know how to do that. I had bootstrapped my previous startup, and so didn't know how to go about raising money. And somebody told me I needed to learn how to pitch. And so I went down to Georgia Tech and DC. They had a thing that they did, and that just didn't work for me well enough. So I went to 2 or 3 of those, and then I asked the folks at ATV if they minded me doing something right after lunch on a Friday, and they said great. And so almost 7 years later, we've heard well over 3,500 pitches, and they even gave us our own room there at ATV. So what we've done is just help people get a little bit better at articulating what they do and what their value is to their marketplace. So it's about making you a little bit better. It's about helping each other out, and everybody who attends either pitches or learns something or meets somebody in networks. And there's always some sort of value here. So we really appreciate you spending time with us here today. And again, this session is recorded, and it'll be on our YouTube channel a little later. So here's how it works. We build pitch practice. You can pitch anything you want, but we build it around a 30-second pitch. And in that 30-second pitch is six things that you need to get across. They don't have to be in this order. You don't have to do it the way I'm going to preach here. Whatever works for you. This is just a structure that works. It's been proven to work over the past six and a half years. So you need to get your name and your company name, the problem you solve, how you solve that problem, who your customer is, and what you're asking for. That was the fast run through. Let me go through each one of those one by one. Your name is obviously very important, but you have to be careful, because if you have an accent or a hard to pronounce or hard to spell name, that can trip people up. The reason I say that is because when you say something that isn't instantly gettable, if that's a word, your audience will focus on trying to figure that out, and they may miss the next thing you're saying. So if you notice, when I introduce myself, I say I'm Kevin. I don't say my last name. I wait for the business card to get that across, because my name, while it's not hugely complicated, the way I say it has people thinking 2 or 3 other things. And so they miss that, they try to figure that out, and then they miss the next thing I'm saying. So be careful how you say your name. You are used to saying it, but I am not used to hearing it. So the way I hear things may be different than the way you say things. Your company name is pretty much the same, especially if it's one of these mishmash names that you create just to have a name and be able to get a .com. If you need to, wear a t-shirt, hold up a sign, get a hat, put it in your virtual background, something, whatever helps you get across to your audience what the name of your company is. Your problem that you're solving is the most important part of your pitch. The reason I say that is because that's the basis for your business. You exist to solve a problem. And I'll refer to one of the next slides, which is the TED Talk, Start With Why. If you haven't listened to this TED Talk by Simon Sinek, it's absolutely fantastic. And it'll help you understand the best way to communicate your value. So you want to start with that problem. You start with why. The problem that you're solving has nothing to do with you. You may have lived it, you may have worked it, you may have lived through it, you may have experienced it, but the problem is not about you. It's not, the problem is out there in the universe, out there in the marketplace. So you need to be able to say what that problem is without talking about what you do, because they're very separate. So a small hint is if you can say the problem statement without using me, you're close. If you're using those words, your problem statement is incredible. You don't want to go deep here. Just say how you solve it. We solve it with a mobile app. We solve it with a website. We solve it with a device. We solve it with a community. Whatever that solution is, just say what it is. Because the purpose of the 30-second pitch is, meeting. You're not trying to get a customer. You're not trying to get an investment. You're not trying to win the relationship here. Think of this designed to get 2 or 3 or 4 yards, and every now and then you break it away. So you're not trying to win the customer here. You're trying to take the relationship one step forward. And then your customer, you have to know who your customers are today. The reason I say today is because that's going to change. Look at Amazon. Amazon's first customer and customers that they made millions off of and went public on was book readers. They sold books to book readers, period. Finalized, and then they went public, and then they grew like crazy, and now they sell everything they're doing. Give me some more idea about those features and APIs and shit. Can somebody put their device on mute? Thank you. And finally, the ask. This was what came up on our discussion last week, was the ask, what do you need? And this is incredibly important. And I've never addressed it in this way before, but your ask is just as important as everything else, your problem statement, your customer, everything. So your ask should be what you lead up to. What do you need? The reason you're pitching is to get your audience to do something, whether it's download your app or sign up for beta or buy your product or send you an email or invest in your company. Everything you say up into that ask needs to build up and support what you're asking for. So it's very important that you actually know what you're going to ask for, and that you say it very, very clearly, and only ask for one thing, especially in a 30-second pitch. One thing only. You have to determine what you need the most. What will get you to next week? And in this current environment, that may be one of those SBA, PPP, free money, but ask very, very specifically, because everybody needs something. And if you don't ask for it, you'll never get it. All right, so I referenced this TED Talk. There's another TED Talk that I would also forward to, and that's Nancy. There is an actual scientific formula or scientific structure, and it looks like those bars on the page right now. You tell a story. And in the 30-second pitch, you're basically going to be saying, here's what it is, and here's what it could be. You get about maybe 2 chances at saying that in 30 seconds. But you got to tell me a story. The reason that is because you can cite all the facts and figures and statistics you want, but nobody's going to remember them. But everybody remembers a great story, a compelling story. And most often, that story is about you. It's about how you got here, how you lived through the problem or saw the problem or experienced the problem, and how you figured out a way to solve the problem. It's usually about you. So that's your difficult task. It's to sell a story that you've probably lived while getting the problem statement about the market. So it takes practice. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but you can absolutely do it. Thousands of people have, and we're here to help you do that. Any questions? Feel free to unmute and pop a question out here if you have a question before we get started. No questions at all. Alrighty, then we will get started. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. And I'm going to ask who is going to step up and volunteer to pitch first.
I can jump in and go first.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let me get my handy dandy clock out here.
All right, I literally found the one quiet corner of my house. It's just a matter of time before somebody finds me.
Hey, at least you have a quiet corner.
Oh my gosh, my office is on the main floor, so that gets all the traffic. But anyway, so here goes. You ready? Hello, my name is Candace, and I am the founder of Love Home. I remember the first time I bought my first home, the excitement I felt, and then how the excitement turned to anxiety. I thought about how I was going to decorate the space. Fortunately for me, I enjoy the chaos of decorating my home, but I know that most other people struggle with finding affordable decorating solutions. So I created Love Home. Our platform sources the vast home decor industry and provides customized, personalized, smart decorating solutions for our users. And that's exactly what we're looking for at this point. We're looking for users to join our community. So if you know anyone, please send them our way.
Very good. How long did you talk?
35 seconds.
44.
Oh.
That's all right. You're getting very smooth. It's really, you're able to say it.
I keep changing it. That's the problem.
Right? You have to keep changing it. You can't stick to the same thing. You have to keep doing what works for you to be in a conversational manner. Because, you know, it's going to be very rare that someone's going to say, stand up and give me your elevator pitch. You're literally going to be getting into an Uber with hopefully soon, getting into an Uber with somebody or meeting somebody for coffee, and they're going to say, what do you do? And you're going to go through a conversational version of what you just did. So, so you're getting very smooth with that. So I appreciate that. Now, who can tell me what the name of her company is?
Love Home.
Love Home, nailed it. Who can tell me what the problem that she's trying to solve is?
Decorating?
Tell me that in the form of a problem, because for me, yes, decorating is a problem, period. But how did she position that as a problem?
First-time home buyers having issues with decorating amongst all the rest of the stress with loans and moving and all that.
How's that, Candace? Is that pretty close?
Yeah, that's pretty close. There's so much information, so many resources out there, and it's hard to navigate the industry and to find affordable solutions to help you navigate the industry.
Okay, good. And who can tell me how she solves this problem? Candace, why don't you repeat that part and see if anybody remembers it?
How did I word it? I said we actually source the home decor industry on behalf of our users. So we collect information, lifestyle information, personal information about them, and we provide solutions based on what we collect about them.
All right, so that's kind of going into how you do it. What does the end user see? If I'm going to join if I'm going to download your app or go log into your website, what am I actually going to see?
You're going to actually see looks or design concepts that would fit the needs of your space.
Okay. So when you say you source the industry, does that mean you aggregate all the possible solutions?
Yeah, so if you say you are decorating an office and you have and you like animal print and you travel, the solutions we provide will fit into not only the aesthetics but the spacing considerations of that space. So
Okay.
instead of you having to go out and say, okay, I know I need a desk, I might need this, or where else can go, it would provide that for you.
Okay, good. All right, who's her customer? Somebody already said this, but who's her ideal customer that she's aiming for?
First-time home buyers.
Is that correct, Candace? First-time homebuyers?
Well, that's where our go-to-market, our
Right.
initial go-to-market.
Right.
Yeah, so anyone who's looking to decorate their space.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's different milestone points that we'll target. People buying their forever house, people buying the first house, people expanding their family. Those are typically trigger milestones where someone might utilize a service like this.
Good. So I'm glad you brought that up. Your audience is anyone who needs to decorate, but your go-to-market primary ideal customer profile is the first-time home buyer, because they have all this other stress on top of them, and you're trying to remove one pain point out of that process.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good to know. That's very much the Amazon model, that you find one little niche of customers that you can really absolutely crack the code on and then expand from there.
Exactly.
Very good. What did she ask us for?
Referrals?
Users.
Users. Yeah.
Users. She's looking for users. So that was very, very simple and very clear. Very good. All right, now who would like to make a suggestion? Who can help her get better? What would you change or add or otherwise edit about her pitch?
I know for me, my company has a ton of complexity in it. And the hardest thing is to get the industry specific language out of what I say to people, because most people don't have that industry specific knowledge. And so to like bring it down to where if I was in a 5th grade classroom, they could comprehend exactly what it is that I'm saying that I do. That's somebody helped me with that. And so that's kind of where I would go.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That's actually where I'm spending a lot of time. This is why this changes so much, because I'm trying to get out of the speaking the way that I normally would in the industry and make it as plain and simple as possible. So yes, I think you hit the nail on that. Is an area that I am trying to work on a little bit with that. So thank you.
That's a very common obstacle that any entrepreneur has to face, because generally the thing that you do, the company that you make, is going to be something that you know a lot about. So you're going to be a subject matter expert in that field. And when you're talking to your primary customer who's not a subject matter expert, you know what you know, but you have to speak at a level of a novice. And that's very difficult for anybody. But when you're trying to reach your audience, you have to, and this is where customer discovery comes in, you have to use the words that your audience uses. Otherwise, they won't hear them. And it's especially in your initial go-to-market messaging, you use the words that your audience use when they said, here's the problem I'm facing. You use those words and they'll hear you. And if you don't use those words, you're going to miss your audience is going to miss your message. Very good. Other suggestions, comments, or questions? All right, we'll call that a wrap. Thank you, Candace. Well done. And you keep getting better and better, so keep coming back.
Thanks.
All right, who's going next?
How about Kim?
Excellent. Whenever you're ready.
All right. So hi, I'm Kim. Well, the problem that we're solving is air cleaning systems used by large industrial manufacturers to prevent air pollution are very expensive and actually create greenhouse gas emissions. Our solution uses activated charcoal to clean the air for a lot less money and without creating a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. Our customers are large industrial manufacturers making pellets for heating homes. We seek funding to build a large industrial air cleaning system.
How long do you think you just spoke?
I'm sorry, what?
How long do you think you just spoke?
Pretty close to 30 seconds.
No, it was about 36.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. Go. I would say, okay, so we know her name's Kim. Who can tell me the name of her company?
I specifically did not say the name of my company because I do not have a company.
All right.
I'm an entrepreneur. I actually work for Georgia Pacific.
Okay. And is this going to be a Georgia Pacific product, or is this going to be a spinoff?
So Georgia Pacific product.
Okay. Good. So you're going to pitch this internally?
Internally.
That's great. That's great. And you have properly named yourself an entrepreneur, because that's a challenge getting anything new to come out of a very established company. But before we get started talking about your pitch specifically, I want to remind everybody that we're on this call, we're on this Zoom meet for a reason, and that's because we can't meet in person. So if you're out trying to raise money or trying to get customers, this is how you're going to be pitching. So get used to this atmosphere. I can't stand this. I've been on, today's what, it's 1:30. I've been on 7 Zoom calls already today, and I have at least 4 or 5 more. I hate it, but this is where we are. So we need to practice in this way. And that's why we're here. That's why we kept on going. ATV asked me, you want to shut down pitch practice for, until we can meet again? I said, no, we need to suffer through this and get used to meeting people and building rapport over these airwaves. So quick reminder, sorry about that. All right, so we now know Kim works for Georgia Pacific, and she is pitching this internally. So what's the problem that they're trying to solve?
Need clean air solutions. Did I hear that right?
Emissions.
Yes.
Yeah. A better way to clean the air without creating pollution.
Yes. Very good.
Kim, you got really specific. Can you repeat that, just that really specific issue that you were trying to get around?
So air cleaning systems by these large industrial manufacturers, they're very expensive, and they actually create greenhouse gas emissions in the process.
Good. So when you say large manufacturers, like you mean car factories like Ford or Tesla, or manufacturers of industrial things, just any big plant?
It's manufacturers, large industrial manufacturers specifically for wood composites, be it wood pellets or wood boards, various wood products, big, heavy industrial manufacturers.
Okay, good. So that's very, very specific. And that will help whoever your audience is for this pitch. Obviously it's internally first, but once you get it approved internally, it'll be external. Knowing that target market who would use this is very, very helpful. Good. Okay, so who can tell me how they solve the problem?
Charcoal filter.
And from my recollection, it's made of charcoal. It's filtered charcoal, but it also costs less, correct?
Correct.
And doesn't give off greenhouse gases.
Correct.
So it's better in every way, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. What did she ask for?
Investment capital, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did you say how much?
No, I did not.
So when you go to the VP or the EVP at Georgia Pacific, how much budget are you going to ask them for?
$8 million.
And what will that's awesome. What will that get you?
It will get me a large industrial air cleaning system that we can demonstrate that this win.
Okay. So the first one costs $8 million to build. I'm assuming that they'll trend down after that.
Somewhat.
Okay, good. So I think obviously you've pitched inside of GP before, and they probably have some sort of formula that they work on as far as ROI and payback of such project, do they not?
They do.
So if knowing that, there's always a format that these big companies have internally for doing new things. So you have to work within those guidelines, correct?
Correct.
So do you know that ROI, that formula that they're looking for, they have to have payback in X number of years?
Yeah, a simple payback is typically 3 years.
Okay.
Much more than 3 years and people get nervous.
All right. So in your pitch specifically, I would advise that because you need $8 million, and you obviously know the market size of the audience, right?
Yes.
So you can do real quick math. It's going to cost us $8 million to build the first one. And then after that, we project sales of blah in the next blah, blah time for a payback of this. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's what I would recommend, that you real simple math, because this is their 30-second pitch. And then you have to obviously give them a spreadsheet that has it proven out down to the nth degree, right?
Yes.
Yeah, internal corporate pitching is really fun and different. All right, who has other suggestions for Kim to help her be more successful at pitching this great idea to GP?
Couple of thoughts. There surely is human health benefits from your new system, right? So if you're talking about a big wood manufacturing, I've been in those, and there is dust flying everywhere all the time. So surely there's some human health benefits you maybe could add to your value proposition. And then the other thing is I would probably ask for more than enough to build one. Maybe you say you want to do 5 prototypes or 5 betas, and I know that ends up being 40 million, but I think if you ask for 40, you might get the 8. So maybe you ask for a larger amount, and your justification is 5 customers to really ferret out the value, the business value, the health value. And if 2 of them, you capture the right ROI, it's a big return for Georgia Pacific. But I think putting all your eggs in one basket might be dangerous for the success of the project.
Yep. Good point.
Very good. Who else? That was good comments. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey, yeah, real quick. I think you should go ahead and give it a name. It's easier to talk about if it's got a name.
True.
What's the typical naming process, convention, working name kind of thing at Georgia Pacific?
Well, the device itself is called a fluidized bed concentrator. So that's sort of a general name for it. The naming convention inside Georgia Pacific is just to pick a funny name that no one will recognize.
Well, there you go. So knowing that, and knowing that it's going to come across very strange and differently to this group, because we don't work at different that can be mildly entertaining if you pick a good, funny name, like Charcoal Cat or something like that.
Or Woodchuck. Call it Woodchuck.
Woodchuck. There you go. Great one. You can go with that, knowing that we're all going to bust into tears laughing, and then help you figure out what it is that you're talking about. So that's good. Who else has some comments? This is great. All righty. Kim, thank you very much. When do you pitch?
I have multiple opportunities ahead. I've got a conference I'm doing in June.
Very good. Well, best of luck to you. Come back next week and every week if you like.
Yes, thank you. You guys got my points, my main points, so thank you.
Excellent. That's good to know. All right, who's going to pitch next?
Go next.
All righty. Whenever you're ready, sir.
All right. My name is Brandon Winfield. I'm the CEO and founder of iAccess Life. When I was 14 years old, I was injured in a motocross accident that left me paralyzed from the chest down. This led me to realize how quickly everyday tasks that we take for granted can be taken away from us. I started traveling with my friends and noticed a lack of accessibility from place to place. Instead of complaining, I developed a solution. iAccess Life is a mobile app that allows users with mobility impairments and their loved ones to rate and review and research locations based on their accessibility. We are currently seeking a seed round of $500,000. So if you're interested in helping those see the world and leave their mark, reach out to us today at info@iaccesslife.com.
How long did you talk?
45 seconds.
Oh, you beat it. 38.
38?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I was trying to stay in the 30-second range. I end up in the time when I do this, so that's better.
That is really good. Well done. Okay. Somebody tell me the name of his company.
iAccess Life.
iAccess Life. Good. And what is the problem that Brandon's trying to solve?
accessibility for handicapped people.
You're right. That's what he's trying to do. What is the problem? Explain the pain.
Lack of access to mobility friendly travel accommodations, buildings, restaurants, motels, that kind of stuff.
And the awareness around it, kind of giving people like the Yelp of accessibility, essentially.
So I'll phrase that there's people who struggle with their mobility or have mobility challenges. The stuff's out there, but there's no central place that says, hey, here's where to go for this. Here's the best of that. And here's the places that suck, that don't have any sort of accessibility. So stay away from them. And I think that's what you're doing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
All right. So nailed that. All right. What do you ask for?
500,000.
Brandon, what are you going to do with all that money?
So a lot. We have plans of developing out the mobile application that we currently have, trying to do some integrations with some other API companies such as like OpenTable or Uber. We want to develop a web application. Of course, some of it's going to go to my salary for the year. It's going to be 18-month burn rate. So just every other operational expense, travel for these expos that we want to go to and get out in front of, as well as our marketing attack.
Okay. So when you're going to ask for money, there's three things you got to ask for. And you got one of them. One of them is exactly how much you want, how much you're raising. Two, exactly what you're going to do with it. Yep. And that doesn't mean get down into dollars, down to the dollar spent, but what you just said is what you're going to use for. And then three, that you also mentioned in the follow-up, is how long is it going to last you?
Yep.
The reason we say those three things is because that proves that you've got a spreadsheet that shows if I put this money in here, it's going to go down like this and stop right here.
Yep.
The logical conclusion from that is after 18 months, I will be able to fill in the blank.
Yep.
Be profitable, raise another round, have this many customers, whatever that milestone is that you're trying to get to, that you need that $500,000 to get to. As an investor, I want to know when I give you $1, where's that dollar going to get you?
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, good. So who's got a suggestion or comment or question for Brandon on how he can improve his pitch?
I've got an idea, not an idea, but something you should be careful of. So you're going to try to be the Yelp for people to know which of these places are accessible or not accessible. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, that's the nuts and bolts of it. And down the line, we're going to incorporate to do things that allow people to book accessible accommodations through us and just kind of have a community of people that are doing fun things and accessing places, essentially.
Well, it's definitely a good idea and definitely needed. But I tell you, there's a show, I think it's either on Netflix or on Prime Video. Have you seen it?
What's it called?
I'll give you the description and you can go look for it. I can't remember. I watched it a year or two ago. But basically, a lot of private businesses, there's OSHA standards that they should be compliant with. Mm-hmm. And this company went around and they actually just used satellites and took pictures of parking lots and driveways, and then basically sicked OSHA on them, and they got fined thousands of dollars, and they all went out of business. So what you have to be careful for, the things you're trying to help is going to draw attention to those that aren't compliant, and you might start getting negative incoming to you and your company or your life or whatever. So it's something needed, but if you pick on a small mom and pop that can't afford to be OSHA compliant, they may not be too happy with you.
Yeah, our whole goal isn't to pick on people. It's more just shining a light. We want to have a platform that kind of shows, hey, this is the demographic of people that you're missing out on. There's a big market of us, and we tend to not travel alone. We travel with companions and friends and family. So it's more of we don't encourage people to negatively say bad things about a place or try to get on them about it. We want to encourage people. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is release an accessible business certification that we're close to doing, but unfortunately Corona kind of put that on back hold. But what we're going to do is go to these places and kind of create the fear of missing out by going to places that are accessible and putting up these stickers that say, hey, this place is accessible and here's a certificate. And
I'm just afraid of the places you give it a 1-star that say isn't accessible, couldn't get in, couldn't get out, I couldn't get to the counter, whatever it was. That's the negative people I'm talking about that may not be.
Yeah, that's okay. Hopefully they change then. Hopefully they change.
Look for that movie on Netflix. It was quite telling that they were doing a good thing, but really ended up putting mom and pop out of business.
I'll definitely check that out. I appreciate it.
Good. Other questions or comments or suggestions? All right, I'll give one. So you were like 36 seconds, which is great, and you keep getting better. But when you're in the comments afterwards, when we're chit chatting afterwards, that's when you say Yelp. You know, you're
You
yelping.
want to put that in there?
That was a perfect description of your business. You should leave with that in the pitch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
totally agree. Totally agree. So,
yeah, people can relate to that and understand what we're trying to do.
right, and that puts it in their minds. Okay, now I get it, because that really is exactly what you're doing. And so your story, your personal story, is very compelling at the beginning. It's a great opening, and then you can say, instead of complaining, and that's when you say, we're going to build the Yelp. And I never can remember the exact words you use, but it's perfect. So keep using that. So we're going to build this. We need 500 grand to do it. That's going to last us 18 months, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. Boom. Okay. And you're at like 24 seconds at that point.
Perfect.
Yeah. So try and keep it simple, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to trying to describe something that's already out there. I can't tell you how many times somebody said, we're Uber for this or Uber for that.
Sure.
Sometimes it's not appropriate, but a lot of times it's exactly what they're doing, because that's the new model of the economy we're in.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions for Brandon? All right. Very good. Who's going next?
I'd like to go next.
Then I'll let you go next.
All right. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I practiced this time, and I don't know, before I start, in the chat, I put a link to a article about how to pitch on video. I think came out recently, so people can look at that. Just some pointers and stuff. Venture Atlanta put that out today. So
yeah, I actually shared that as the kind of the promo for today's session of pitch practice. Okay. From Octopus Ventures.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So, but all right, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Hello, my name is Casey, and I'm the founder of InvoiceBright. 10% of all business-to-business account receivable invoices go lost or get stuck in the payment process. Companies have to manually follow up on those lost invoices, and cash flow takes a hit. Every B2B company has this problem, but InvoiceBright can help those that use a cloud accounting system. InvoiceBright can track your AR invoices and tell you when one is lost. It can also tell you in real time when one is paid and when you can expect your money. So for your benefit, take the 3 minutes to attach your cloud accounting system to InvoiceBright and get to know when you're going to get paid. That's it.
All right. How long did you talk?
That was a lot better than last week. I would say 40 seconds.
Oh, you even beat it. That was 35.
Okay. I'll take that.
Was it last week that you went on for 1:28?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You crushed that this time. So very good.
Yeah. So I didn't practice last time. Obviously I practiced this time. So.
And just for everybody out there and anybody who watches this video later, that's the results of practice. The first time anybody says what they're trying to say, usually you meander a little bit because you really just don't have any guidance. And then once you get some good feedback, and that you can tighten things up, and you practice it a few times, boom, you're down to near 30 seconds or under. And it's incredible what you can do when you practice. So everything you want to get better at, you got to practice. This is no different. All right, who can tell me the name of Casey's company?
InvoiceBright.
Very good. What is the problem that InvoiceBright wants to solve?
Solving business-to-business payments.
Lost invoices.
Right, lost invoices.
Yeah, do you have anything, Casey, do you do anything with the actual paying of the invoices?
No, it's strictly a status. It's strictly an information transparency type of thing. We're not changing anyone's process, so we're not trying to change how the people pay or anything like that.
You're just bringing visibility to the process and hopefully shortening it up, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, good. So what is that? We kind of talked about the solution there, but how does he say that he solves the problem?
He can tell you where the invoice is in the supply chain.
Right, we're tracking it.
So you can tell me exactly, what does that mean? If it's an electronic invoice, it goes from my QuickBooks account to the person that I know at the company who I've worked with, and they forward it to somebody else, and you track all that?
No, it's a network business, so both sides need to be on InvoiceBright. But once they would create an AP entry in their system, InvoiceBright would know about it, and we'd start the transparency at that point.
Okay, so if I'm going to send an invoice, I need to attach my QuickBooks system to InvoiceBright, and my vendor needs to, or provider needs to attach their system to InvoiceBright.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. That's why you have to build out all these APIs.
Yes.
I got it. Okay, good.
Who pays for it? The invoicer pays for it?
Well, both parties would be getting benefit because they'd be seeing where their AR invoices are, and both parties would be providing value to others by showing, AP status. So eventually both parties would be paying, and it'd be a small monthly subscription.
But who do you ding first?
Well, first I need to get the network up large enough so I can charge anyone. But there's going to be I could go into it, but there'll be an AP share product service that I think we could charge a little bit for to start off with.
Okay.
Just a thought, think about charging the person that's invoicing first.
Yeah.
You'll get the other person, if they like the way it works, then they can become a customer, but don't make them become a customer to be a part of that solution. Make the invoicer pay, and then you can offer that they bring it up, but it's free for them as long as they're just receiving invoices. But if they want to send an invoice and track it, then they pay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of different angles to that. Yes, absolutely.
Good. Okay. What did he ask for?
He didn't.
He kind of did, but it wasn't really an ask.
It's 3 or 4 minutes to try something.
Download it, but he didn't ask for money or anything. He did say download his app. He did say that.
Yeah.
So what actually, let's pretend all of us here are invoice generating machines. What do you actually want us to do?
I want you to take the 3 minutes to attach your cloud accounting system to InvoiceBright.
So that's the equivalent of sign up and get started today?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it would be 3 minutes for me to quote unquote attach my QuickBooks service to InvoiceBright.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So I would leave out that 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because it makes people think of, several people said 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, whatever it was. That's what sticks in our minds. And while that's could be good, could be bad, I don't know. They're not focusing on the value. They're focusing on what's it going to cost me. That even if it's 3 or 4 minutes, not much, but still that's where their focus is. And you could say something about, trace your invoices today, see where your invoices are. Just sign up and you'll see where all your invoices are.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't know exactly what happens when I sign up, but the fact that it only takes a few minutes to sign up is really good user experience, I hope. But it's not a big ask if you're asking them to give up 3 or 4 minutes. All right. Any questions, comments, or suggestions for Casey?
No, I just want to reiterate the 3-minute call to action was really at least intriguing to me. It made me want to go out and do it. So I would say keep that part in if you're going to change anything.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. It depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to non-accountants, saying 3 to 4 minutes is not a lot, and it might help. If you're talking to accountants, I could leave that in because they sort of know how all that works. Yeah, so it's like a lot of this. It's all audience also. So thanks for that though.
Yeah, Casey brings up a good point that you do have to tailor your pitch for your audience. So if Casey's talking to a bunch of accountants or AP or AR managers at a large companies or any whatever, you can use certain language that they'll understand and certain norms that they get. If you're talking to a small business owner, I don't have 3 or 4 minutes. Tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And so it's a different audience. Who else has a comment or question for Casey?
Hey Casey, it's Trellis. A lot better than last time.
Yeah.
Well, a lot shorter, I'll say. I think the positive thing is that as a non-finance person, I understood what you were talking about. So I think you chose, everyday words, in large part that anybody could really understand. And so, so I think that was good. And the pacing was good. I mean, you weren't talking too fast or too slow. It kind of, felt a lot better in comparison to last time. So good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I as Kevin said, practice makes perfect, and I put in some time this time. So.
Well, I've been practicing, but Kevin has always still given me a hard time. So.
Hey, just trying to
I'm
make it
joking.
better.
I'm joking. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate that. Who's going next?
I'll go.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Bobby from Denote. Tech entrepreneurs use Denote to connect to capital and keep equity. I started Denote because not every tech business is a good fit for venture capital. Alternatives can be highly fragmented. Filling out loan applications can be time-consuming. Tapping into personal credit isn't best practice, and online lenders work with retailers. That's why our software solution is designed to algorithmically match, compare, and recommend the optimal financing option. And if you don't happen to qualify, we help you germinate into credit worthiness. So if you're in the market for capital, but don't want to give up ownership and control, go to denote.co and sign up. Thanks so much. Nice.
30 seconds exactly. And that was with, I don't know if everybody got that kind of, you kind of phased out there about 10 or 15 seconds. So I couldn't hear a good chunk of your pitch, but I was timing it still and it came out. So appreciate that. Who can tell me the problem that Bobby's trying to solve?
Connecting people with capital.
That's what he's going to do.
Giving up equity for that capital.
Is that the problem?
Well, they might not have credit worthiness. That's kind of the problem he's helping with.
Yeah, helping tech founders don't have access to non-dilutive capital or something like that. Or they don't know where to find it.
Bobby, restate the problem for us.
Yeah, so the kind of alternatives to venture are highly fragmented. So filling out loan applications, do you go with your personal credit? Marketplace lending, is that a good fit? So it's very fragmented to find capital when you're looking for debt financing.
Yeah, and he said that.
Yeah, I get that, but when I asked what the problem is, there was a lot of different answers that weren't quite on target there. So I want to make sure Bobby's getting the right message across. And your opening line is it really brings out venture capital. That's the word I hear is venture. But what you're focusing on is how to make it easy. And this is your solution. I hope I'm not giving it away. Your solution is how to make it easy for small tech businesses to get debt capital. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. All right. So I get the juxtaposition against venture. The venture, you're going to lose 40% of your company and you're going to have investors crawling all over you. Whereas with debt capital, if you can get it, you make a payment. As long as you make the payment, the bank never talks to you.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little confused, and I know we're on tech, so it kind of phased out. I not saying that he didn't do a good job. I just didn't quite get the problem and solution. So again, it was cutting out on tech, so that might have been on my end as well. Just to let you know, and to let him know that I could hear him and he spoke, but then it just got a little scratchy. So I don't know if I missed out. I just wanted to point that.
Yeah, I appreciate that because he clipped out on my side as well, and that happens. That's the reality we're in. You got to get used to maybe having to say your pitch 2 or 3 times because somebody's Wi-Fi or some connection went out somewhere around the world, and that's okay. We just have to get used to that. So Bobby, I think we've covered the problem, and you're very consistent in your use of the problem, the solution to debt financing for small tech businesses is very fragmented.
Right.
Can you tell me what you mean by fragmented?
There's a play of competitors in the space. It isn't really refined to a specific type of business. So if I'm a SaaS company and I'm looking for debt financing, do I go to Cabbage, right? Cabbage is out there, OnDeck is out there, Brex is out there, Pipe is out there. Do I go to Clearbank? How do I know? There's so many options out there. How do I know which financing solution is right for me? Should I, if I know I need 50K, is a line of credit right for me? Is a rev share agreement right for me? And so when you think about the different capital sources, there's 20 of, a couple dozen some odd options out there. And there isn't, a clear path to making the entrepreneur sector.
Okay. I was trying to get to a simpler definition of that word fragmented, because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But I got your point across there, so I appreciate that. What did Bobby ask for?
I was just going to make a suggestion for the fragmented as complex, sure. maybe a better word. That finding funding is extremely complex, confusing, complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not one place to go. There's 100 different ways to get debt financing, correct?
Right.
Okay. All right. Good. So what did Bobby ask for? I thought that was the easiest part of his pitch. Bobby, what do you need?
Yeah, let's go to the website, denote.co, and sign up.
Yeah, I thought that was very clear. The one thing you did, and so we're into the suggestion portion now, that you used a term. Do you have your pitch actually written down?
No.
The last thing you said, there it is. I had to get it back in my brain. You said germinate towards credit worthiness. Is there a way you can simplify that? In other words, I think if you spent any time with Karen Houghton, she would tell you you're using a $20 word when a $2 word will work. So what does it mean to germinate towards credit worthiness?
I could say grow into credit worthiness.
Okay. And what is that? I'm trying to just keep the conversation rolling in a direction. What does that mean? Does that mean you have to have a certain revenue, certain profitability, certain activity?
Yeah. So right before that, I say, if you're not, and if you don't have any options, if you're not credit worthy, we help you germinate. So we help you grow into that. So we think of our user base in two different buckets. You have the folks that come, join the platform and they're looking for 50K in funding and they're just not there yet. And then you have the guys that, on board and they're right on target. And so the folks that aren't credit worthy, we want to provide additional solutions and tools to help them become credit worthy and hit their funding goal. And so that's part of how we monetize.
Okay, Bobby, you froze up there at the end, but I think we got it. Appreciate that. All right, who has some comments or questions for Bobby? His pitch was exactly 30 seconds.
I think you can skip through the venture funding. I think we brought that up last week, that it kind of just distracts from the actual problem that you're trying to fix, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with venture funding. Because the problem is not in venture funding, it's in finding lines of credit for your business to operate.
What do you think about that, Bobby?
Yeah, so that's one thing that's one thing I'm going to change alongside ripping out some $20 words. More data on the original pitch. So I have a list of things I want to change, and so I'll roll out a better version.
Okay. All right, good. Other questions, comments, or suggestions for Bobby?
One suggestion is really just if the audience is like the customer, it can be really, really simplified. So like something like instead of needing like, you can even just start it with something as simple and casual, just saying most businesses need lines of credit. And as an owner, navigating your options is hard. Denote is the easy to use platform that helps you find financing faster, something like that.
Yeah, just making it simple.
It's like one sentence.
Very good. Thank you, Caesar. Who else has a comment or a question for Bobby? All right then. Thank you, Bobby. Good stuff. Nailed it to 30 seconds. Appreciate it. Who's going to go next?
Thanks, guys.
I'll go next. I'm Andre. So it's actually my first time trying to do this pitch. So we'll see how this turns out. All right. So
you're ready.
All right. Ready. Hello, everybody. My name is Andre. I'm the founder of the Good Barber app. Looking for a new barber is a headache. Many of us randomly walk into a barber shop not knowing the price, who cuts well, or worse yet, we have to sit and wait until the barber can squeeze us in. Now there's a solution. The Good Barber app enables you to search, look at reviews, receive dynamic online quotes, in shop or mobile, all online or in an app. I'm looking for mentors that have successfully brought their app platform business to market.
Very good. How long do you think you just spoke?
37 seconds.
It was 33. Not bad. Not bad for your first time. All right.
Okay.
Who can tell me Andre's company's name?
Good Barber app.
I tell you, if I could get somebody to come cut my hair right now, I'd pay them any amount of money.
You can go online and do it, man.
They're not going to come to my house in this environment. Good Lord.
They are in a mask, and they're going to charge you $500.
Well, that's a little pricey for this, you know. Just cut the gray out and move on.
Masks are expensive now.
No, I've honestly used my app last week, and I actually had a barber come to my house and cut my hair on the patio. She was wearing a mask and gloves.
Seriously?
Are they an essential service?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you just hit a hot spot here, Andre. I appreciate it.
My son, my 15-year-old son, I'm going to,
Yeah, I'm downloading today too. I need a haircut myself.
Yeah, you can go to goodbarberapp.com. You guys don't need to even get an app. So we're online in the app. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we all know the problem. Can somebody kind of tell me how? Give me a good analogy for how Good Barber app works.
It connects a person with a barber or somebody that they need and cuts down on the wait time. You don't have to sit there and wait. You know when you're going to get it and where you need to be when you need to be.
Is it Uber for haircuts?
Yes, there's that piece as well. Yeah.
or Airbnb.
Take your pick. Either one of those really actually does work for this.
Yeah, any two-sided marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like any system that provides reviews and quotes.
Yeah.
All right, what did Andre ask for?
Mentors to bring his app to market.
But you've already got your app to market.
Sort of. I'm more in I would say a beta state, but I'm in market and I'm trying to grow, but I'm not growing as fast as I would like. I've been in the App Store for about 3 months and I have about 300 barbers, but my forecast was to be a lot larger than that. Around the world as well. So I don't know if I should really focus in one location, et cetera. So that growth piece is kind of where I need the help with.
Start small. Start
Okay.
with the audience right here. Everybody on this call is like, oh my gosh, take my money.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That's starting small, and then obviously you got to build the two-sided. So you got to have professionals who can provide the service lined up in different areas, and then at some
Yes.
point, if you nail it, if you nail the experience, it'll grow quite a bit organically. But you still have to invest in every area that you want to expand to.
Okay.
I think
Right.
too, the piece around maybe helping to educate consumers around what you're requiring or recommend that your barbers do differently during this time might also be a bit of a differentiator. So if there's a way for you to maybe educate barbers to say, hey, make sure you're wearing gloves, carry your own hand sanitizer, you got to have a mask on because that's what I'm going to be telling my customers right now, then I think that this current environment might actually give you a bit of lift if you can provide me with certain assurances that you're doing your best to make sure that your barbers are educated about how to work in this kind of scenario.
Yeah. And for the next, hopefully, few weeks, it's probably going to be a few months, I would adjust your pitch dramatically just for this scenario, which is pretty simple. Hey, need a haircut?
Yeah.
Someone will come to your house. Go to goodbarber.com, goodbarber.co or .com?
.com. Goodbarberapp.com. The app
Okay.
is at the end.
Yeah. I don't know anybody except for yourself, and your hair looks really good. You're very well groomed. I don't know anybody who doesn't need a haircut right now. Everybody needs a haircut.
Right.
So you could make some serious traction in this environment if you can say, your visual is a professional barber haircut, or what do you say it, in gloves and a mask.
Yeah. That's what I was just gonna say. If you got pictures or a video snippet from yesterday, that can help.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good stuff. All right. Who else has a question or comment for Andre?
Who are your competitors? Any?
So there are some competitors. There's a new company called Booksy. Actually, they're not really that new. They're 5 years old. Booksy and StyleSeat. They don't focus on the mobile barber aspect though. I'm the only one that has basically all the features that they have, and then I also have the mobile piece that's built into the app where you can get like dynamic quotes based on distance and time that the barber puts in for their cost per mile. So I have some slight competitors, but not totally aligned.
And as a follow-up, then where are you kind of locating your barbers? Are they across the country right now to connect them, or are you just starting in our market in the Atlanta area?
Literally, I've done pretty much any English-speaking country. So I have barbers in Australia, the UK, Canada, and the US. And if you go to the app, you'll see they're spread out all over the place. But I think that's part of the problem is because it's two-sided. I've been trying to focus on seeding with the barbers themselves initially, and then start to bring in the demand from the consumer side. But since I have to kind of have that whole network effects thing going on, I felt that initially I was focused on having barbers so that people go to the platform, they find somebody to match up with. I don't know if that answered the question.
It did. I just was curious.
Okay.
Good stuff. Who else has a comment or question for Andre?
Yeah, could you expand a bit more on the network effects and how do you kind of get the flywheel spinning? I know you're trying to solve the classic chicken and egg problem. Can you kind of go into a bit of how do you kind of do that? Are you thinking around a more geographic focus? Are you focusing on constraining the marketplace so it helps you kind of build up supply and then see demand? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, so the chicken egg thing, right? So with the barbers themselves, the other platforms charge anywhere between $20 to $50 a month. I'm just basically going to be free and then $5 a month because it's just me by myself and I'm a developer. I'm able to cut some costs. So that's my initial strategy to try to get them on the platform. Now, being that there are no consumers necessarily for demand, I try to provide other tools that enable some value. So like the actual scheduling piece, barber can put them, instead of using like some type of scheduling app, they can actually use the platform to schedule. It can send out the emails and text message notifications to the consumer. It just gives them more of a professional presence. Building from that step is the barber itself gets a profile that's created online, kind of like their own website, which they can then use for their own marketing purposes. I circle back with Instagram and Google ads around those barbers' profiles that puts them out there more. When I am ready to start pushing more consumers on the platform, there would already be these different sales funnels for all these different barbers. And then kind of, I'm hoping that there's a way where, you know, obviously they get some type of referrals and things like that, and that traction starts to build up a name. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But right now, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know you were finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the question is around the monetization. I think you mentioned $5 you're charging the barbers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, $5 a month subscription for the barbers.
And then are you thinking about kind of constraining geographically, or is it you know, open up kind of nationwide, so anyone you know, in the country or even on the planet, right? How do you think about constraining when you first try to validate the market?
Yeah, so I haven't thought about constraining. I wasn't sure if I should or should not. That was kind of thing. It's been wide open. Any English speaking country is basically where the constraint is.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Good feedback. Any other questions or comments?
Can I make one comment about how, you know, because we're in the virtual world and seeing each other, that it's probably a nervous habit. He turns his chair back and forth, and when you do, you probably don't see it, but I see it. You go from light to dark, light to dark.
Yeah.
So for us, it's no big deal because we're you know, we're all acquaintances and colleagues. Don't turn it, because it for me, like, it takes the attention off you and what you're saying. You did a great job in the pitch, but I was like, he's going back and forth. I see him. I don't see him. I just thought I'd make that comment.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm the same way. If you're looking at my video there, you're probably getting sick because I move constantly because I'm standing on my feet. It's better than sitting down all day.
You're great. It's just he was going from light to dark, and if you're pitching to somebody, Yeah,
he's on his chair doing this number.
Yeah.
And you got a very bright window behind you, so it's capturing all the light. Yeah. That is a good comment. And you're right, Louis, there, when we're doing virtual pitching, which is where we are, those things are not natural to us. We don't naturally think about that, but we have to.
I'm sorry, just one more question around the business model. Do you take out a transaction fee on the actual haircuts?
So I don't actually take out a transaction fee. I'm processing through Stripe. So the third party is actually taking a transaction fee. It's like I think it's 2%, something like that.
Okay, gotcha. So the way you make money is just kind of scale out the supply side. The revenue stream is the amount of barbers that use the platform.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Good stuff. Anybody else for Andre?
Did you ever hear about or do research on a company called House Call?
I have not heard of House Call. I know that there's one company in New York that's doing something similar, but they don't also have the in-shop aspect, from my understanding. They're pretty much focused on the Uber for barbers piece. It sounds like the company you're talking about is something similar.
Yes, this was a company that was actually in a cohort for a pre-accelerator that I did, and it seemed like it was based here in Atlanta, and they seemed like they were getting a lot of traction and some press. And this was about a year and a half ago, and then the coronavirus stuff, I was like, oh man, these guys must be like cleaning up or something. So like I went to look them up, and they, I think, have closed up shop. So it would be interesting to know what happened there, because they seem to be getting traction and all of a sudden they're just gone. I mean, as happens with a lot of small businesses, but given that they were doing very similar things, and seem to be getting traction. It'd be interesting to do like some research into why that was.
Yeah. What I find is a lot of barbers don't like the idea of paying a commission for each haircut. So on the other platforms, they charge typically 20% for a lead. So if you get a new customer that's recorded in the system, it's like 20%. And they really hate that. And that's part of the reason why I don't charge that. It's just the straight flat fee of $5 a month. And when you really think about it, there's some other tools in there that enables the barber to, make more money. So there's a customer tracking piece, there's a marketing piece. Ideally, you'd be able to recoup your $5 by the end of the month. So that's kind of the spin on the sale of it. But I know a lot of other people that have tried to do something kind of similar. They usually try to monetize through each transaction. And I think that really turns people off. That's in my type of market.
Good question, good answer. We'll see if your theory is correct.
Yeah.
Just got to work it out. It may be. Well, I hope it is. So.
Yeah, me too.
Good. Any other comments or questions for Andre? This is good stuff. Andre, that's how you know you hit the mark here, when there's tons of conversation about your pitch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Well done. All right, thank you, Andre.
Thank you, guys.
Who's going next?
I'll go.
Excellent.
All right. This is first time through, so let's see what happens. I also am wearing a hat because I need a haircut as well. So, my name is Matthew, founder and CEO of ClaimBot. Property claims are very complex. The insurance company pays, trains, and sends an insurance adjuster to determine what they're going to pay you. Shouldn't you have access to this expertise? Enter ClaimBot. It's a web app that provides property owners access to a personal claims expert. Because we're using general contractors as a lead generation source, we are looking to connect with general contractors in the Atlanta and Augusta area.
How long do you think you spoke there?
36.
You should have quit at 30 because you nailed it at 30. Exactly 30 seconds.
Awesome.
So, a very good start. All right. Somebody tell me what Matthew's company name is.
ClaimBot.
Ding, ding, ding.
ClaimBot, just like it sounds?
Yep.
Good. Good. What's the problem that ClaimBot is going to solve?
Users don't have access to expert data, so they don't know if they're getting accurate assessments
on their insurance claims. Okay. Yeah. Matthew, specifically, what kind of insurance claims? Is that homeowners?
Property claims. Yep.
Property claims. Okay,
yep.
Good. All right, good. And how does he solve this problem?
Reach out to the insurance companies.
Can you give us, go ahead.
Insights from contractors.
Matthew, can you give us the 10-word version of what exactly ClaimBot is and does?
ClaimBot is it's actually a automation platform that contractors use. But what it does is it gives homeowners, property owners, access to claim their own adjuster, their own personal claims expert, to basically write a competitive estimate and negotiate the settlement with the insurance company.
Okay. So you're getting, is it fair to say that that is it's a second opinion?
Correct. It's basically somebody, because it's actually a licensed occupation, but nobody knows what it is. And so I quit using the word. It's called public adjusting. You're actually licensed, bonded, and insured, and you are the homeowner's representative in the claim, and you are legally allowed to negotiate the settlement. Contractors are not legally allowed to negotiate the settlement. Homeowners can self-represent, but they don't know how to write a construction estimate or what coverage they have. And so we basically come in, we apply coverage to the damage that exists by working with their contractor, who is the construction expert, And then we go with the adjuster and we basically negotiate that settlement, and we're seeing like 300 to 900% increases in settlements. This is how bad this world is.
Okay, so let me jump in here and advise you to restate the problem.
Okay.
The problem is not that we as homeowners don't have access to that, to the data, and don't know how to write a construction claim or construction quote. The problem is we're getting ripped off by our insurance companies for property damage claims.
Amen.
That's exactly right.
To the tune of 300 to 900%.
Mm-hmm. I've seen as high as 2,200%, where they denied a claim and we came back and it was $22,000 settlement. So.
Yeah. See, that's a very, very easy problem to get your arms around. If a tree's ever fallen on your car, your house, or whatever, and the insurance company comes out and says, yeah, that'll be $2,768, and it's really 13 grand.
And so most of the time what we see is the insurance adjuster hits the meat, like the very apparent damage, and misses all the little details. And that's where we come in and capture all the details.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I would advise you to adjust that problem statement to focus on that gap between what the average settlement amount versus what the average actual cost is. That's there's a delta there.
Perfect.
Okay, let me understand this. So someone files their claim, does everything they're supposed to through the insurance company. They come through with their offer. Yours is so someone can go in there and take a look at, well, gee, this is what the insurance companies offer me, but what you're providing is actually better, and I should be getting this kind of attitude. Because I think I get what you're doing. I just wanted clarification.
So the public adjusting industry is relegated to expensive geolocations, so expensive areas of the country, and they don't travel. They service a very tiny subset. So what we're doing is we're using contractors as our inspectors, and we're bringing you public adjusting services online. And the way this works is basically the insurance company hires, pays, and trains an adjuster to come assess the damage. We're basically that same thing. We're just representing you and not the insurance company.
Got it. But those people have to come, but you can also go with your service and bring you in and go, now wait a second, because you're
Correct.
licensed. This is what it really should be, and you keep pushing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
But what power does the homeowner or anybody really have against the insurance company? What if you disagree with the insurance company? Why doesn't the insurance company just say, hey, here's what I'm paying you?
So basically what it is you have to fight on coverage and damage. And so if it's not there, it's not there. But what happens is an insurance adjuster is very undertrained. The barrier to entry to become an insurance. So I started this career with no knowledge of insurance or construction. It took me 5 years to get to the place where I was comfortable with the settlements that I was creating. That was 5 years of people's insurance claims that I was handling that I don't feel very good about. And so what I said is there has to be a way that more people can have access to this service to ensure that their biggest financial investment, their home, is protected. And so the insurance company, here's the thing, is the only regulation that helps hold insurance companies accountable is called good faith. And that basically excludes ignorance, because you have to have malicious intent to be operating in bad faith. And so if an insurance adjuster comes out and just is not experienced or doesn't care enough, you're going to get that result unless either you fight or you hire a public adjuster or an attorney to fight for you. The problem with attorneys is they're expensive and they don't know damage. They know coverage, they know insurance, they know law, but they don't know estimating.
Well, I think the point here is, does the secondary evaluation have any teeth when you're fighting a claim? Because, for example, like right now, I'm currently fighting a claim for auto insurance, And I had to do a lot of this research that you're talking about. And yes, it would have been really useful for me to save time to get that kind of research to be able to better value my claim. But even once I did, the insurance company just said, well, this is what we were going to give you. And if you want more, you're just going to have to take us to court. And so now I have to get a lawyer. And after consulting the lawyer said, yeah, that's about what we would expect, just statistically speaking from, you know, what happened in your case. You're valued about the same. So I guess we'll take the case. But, you know, in the end, I still had to go through a lawyer because taking them to court is the only recourse with a large company like that.
Right. And that's the actual power we hold, is we can take them to an appraisal, which is the step before court. It's basically mediation with an experienced claim adjuster sitting at the head of the table. And so we have a step prior to attorney that we can say, okay, if you don't want to agree on the scope, we're going to appraisal. And then at the end of that, if it turns out we were right and they were wrong, now not only is that appraisal fee part of the claim, but so is my compensation. And so most of the time with residential losses, insurance companies don't want to fight over a 10 or 12, $2, $3, $4, $5,000. They just want it to settle. And so as long as the public adjuster isn't greedy, as long as we're doing it with values and accuracy, which is one of our core values, it typically won't go that far, and you usually get to a settlement. I think it's about 10% that are difficult and about 3% that go to appraisal.
Hey, question around the business model and this kind of scalability of your process. So is this like a service-based company? You mentioned automation, or is this technology enabled? Do you have plans kind of scale nationwide? And then also when it comes to the delta between the service that you provide, are you eking out economics there? Like, are you incentivized to create the best deal for your clients? And
yes.
How much of a percentage?
Yes, and so the national average for pay for compensation for a public adjuster is 15% of the claim. And most people are like, oh my gosh, 15%. But where the usual way it works out is the insurance company's at 10, we say 22, we land at 20, and then we're getting 15%, and you're still, the contractor and you have $7 or $8 grand left in that claim that you didn't have before. And yes, we have national. So that's the reason we're taking it online, and we're using contractors. So local contractors is our inspection source. Contractors love us. That's why they're a perfect lead generation source, because we increase their profitability, and we are a liability hedge because they can get fined or go to jail for negotiating a settlement. And so those two little things help contractors kind of buy into us, and then they go inspect the property, take photos. We write the estimate and negotiate the settlement remotely. So there is a full technology play here. Not to get too far down the road, but our long-term vision is to create a claim precedent system where we collect data from every one of these claims. And now a homeowner can go query the database, find some claim in the same parameters that their claim is, and make their own argument. So now instead of charging 15, we charge 10%. We're one of the lowest in the country. And eventually the goal is to get down to 3-5% of the claim and let the homeowner kind of self-defend and empower them with the data. And so that's the long-term vision of the company.
Got it. Thanks.
Good stuff. Any other questions or comments for Matthew? All right. Well done, Matthew. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Very cool. And unfortunately, I'm not going to ask who's going next because I'm now 4 minutes late for my 2:30 Zoom call. So it's been a pleasure, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And thanks for coming. We'll hope to see you next Friday, same channel, same place, and stay safe and see if we can get outside on this beautiful day.
Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.